I've heard him play that at Woodstock.
Yeah. I know. It's good.
No, I actually did though.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where were you?
At Woodstock.
Yeah. You realize that was before your time. So, what if we can travel through time?
Oh.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Just one direction.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Right.
Well. Okay. We can in one direction, and that's the topic of today's discussion. Is we can go back in time.
Oh yeah.
To an original event. How cool is that? I mean, think about that. What other way can you do that? There's really only two ways I can think of is video,
right?
Where you can actually watch something that occurred, right? But to me, that's not real. It's not as realistic as it can be. Like, when you watch an old video on today's screens, it looks like an old video on today's screens, right?
Yeah.
You're not really immersed in the event so much.
That's true.
Maybe if you had like a curved screen, one of those 360s or something.
We have limitations of technology.
Yeah, you really
It
can.
needs to be like AI upscaled or something.
To some extent, you get less of that with audio.
Yeah, totally.
Because it turns out people recorded audio pretty good back in the day, some of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was terrible.
Well, especially some of the live recordings where they use a one or two microphones and the whole thing's picked up, the whole sense of space and everything going on right there. Like if you were the microphone, you're there. That's what they picked up. It's like having two ears there.
Yeah.
So some of these recordings are cool.
There is kind of a limit to this, though. You go too far back, and then, it wasn't archived well.
Well, you might get some tube hum or something like that, off the mic amps.
Or if it was
pre's,
recorded on a wire, that's not very.
Well, I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the quality of the recording necessarily, but there are.
Well, it does help.
I mean, but by the same token, there's a lot of stuff that's been taken from tape from the 60s and even 50s. That's at DSD level at this point, available DSD. That's amazing shit. And some of it's live, some of it was done in a studio, but the point was it was done to tape, properly saved or stored over the decades, and you can actually listen to it now. And in fact, a lot of stuff coming up in streaming is available on, dumbed down versions of those transfers, tape transfers.
Or you could have the tape yourself.
Well, yeah, you could. Or
sometimes you could buy copies of original master tapes.
Yeah,
that's a little more difficult though.
Well, you're talking
and expensive,
$500-600 and up, I guess. Yeah. I think a blank roll of tape's over $100 just for the tape.
Yeah.
Then you got to have music put to it, and then obviously someone's got to pay the proper people for the rights to put the music to it.
The proper people,
whoever the hell that is. I don't know who gets paid where.
Folks on the YouTubes.
Oh yeah, that do that.
No.
Oh, the YouTube.
Yeah, the YouTubes, they don't do that.
Yeah.
But I think in headphones especially, you see a lot of people talking about the products, the technology, the change, the evolution. They're focused on the gear and the hardware rather than the outcome. And you see this in a lot of hobbies, in fact. But I do think there's a little merit in kind of reflecting back on the whole reason why most people get into headphones in the first place. And that's to listen to music, listen to audio. And it is interesting that it is possible some of the time to put a little effort in maybe, but to listen to something that was done a long time ago. And to some extent then in that sense, the technology kind of disappears, which I think that's always the end goal, but it doesn't always feel like it, right? Like a lot of people think, oh, I always need that one last additional change. I need this new DAC or whatever, some product or something to enhance it. By all means,
the incremental improvements are part of what audiophiles seek, the step-by-step incremental improvements, which their end goal is to be there, right? And they have it in their mind. Maybe they were there when it was originally recorded, but they have it in their mind what that should sound like.
Right.
And, and that's what they seek out when they're making these changes, these subtle changes in a system,
I think it's interesting to talk about that because for some reason that tends to get lost, especially on people newer to headphones. It could seem like everybody's always focused on the hardware, but the reason why people talk about this stuff so much is oddly enough because you hope in the end it doesn't matter. You care so much to get your setup dialed so that it doesn't matter, if that makes any sense, right? So it goes away. Well, so the experience is perfect and the hardware doesn't interfere with the experience.
I mean, that's the whole point is you want to forget you're listening to gear, right? That's the hard part though, right?
Right.
But in order to do that, you need to fixate on all the different little intricacies in order to make it so none of it matters effectively.
I guess that's why it's harder with video because like it doesn't matter how good of a TV you got, you never forget that you're not there. You know,
Right.
you always realize you're watching a TV. But with audio, it's easier to, you know, you close your eyes and imagine you're there.
It's definitely easier to get an immersive experience.
My litmus test on that is that you never feel like you're looking out your window
Right.
when you're watching a TV. And I mean, there's such a separation between the two when you think about it.
Yeah.
You just can't get there. And we're at 8K, 12K sources, blah, blah, blah. And it's good, but it's all typically still, it's even fake. It just looks fake. It never looks real.
Always.
You know, it's hyper, whatever you call that, you know, they intensify everything to try to make it pop more, but that makes it worse rather than better because, you know, and I mean, you could do the same thing with audio for sure, you know, that a lot of things do that. People EQ, brighten the sound, choose things that have more in detail, but yet it's not really real because it's too pushed in your face detail. And the same kind of thing happens in video.
Well, I guess that's why like binaural recordings are always more immersive because they're just trying to, you know, play it how it is, you know, what you would hear if you were there.
Yeah, two mics in a head-shaped device picking up the music as if you were sitting right there. And then obviously the placement of that head relative to the musicians matters. And, you know, so they're sitting down going, all right, where would this sound good? Put the head where I would want to be and let's hit record.
As opposed to just putting like 10 mics everywhere and then figuring it out later, right?
Yeah, or micing each instrument and having a mixing guy deal with making it sound good.
Right.
You know, so yeah, a lot of the live stuff is, I love some of the older live stuff, you know.
But again, that's not a guarantee that it's good, right? Or will bring you back to that time.
Well, Jazz at the Pawn Shop comes to mind because that was like the 80s.
Classic, 70s.
70s, yeah. On the Papyrus label was the original CD. I don't think it came out anything but CD. They do have an album.
No, it came out in like 74, I think.
Oh, really?
76.
So there's an album version.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
You have it.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
You got to wonder how much of that comes from the simple fact that when they started doing the thing, when they were recording the track, they focused on making it sound realistic rather than making it sound, you know, radio friendly, engaging, exciting, exuberant,
Loudness wars,
exaggerating things.
Yeah, right.
Because you see that still to this day, of course. There's some tracks that they're not worried about realism. They're not worried about it sounding like you being there. They're worried about it sounding like something people are going to listen to in the car. You know,
yeah, if you're randomly
like
selecting stations, you're going to stop on this one type thing, you know?
Not like stop to get immersed right quick. You know?
I guess when you think about it, that was primarily probably done for like radio, like FM radio, because with satellite, who cares what station you're on? You're paying the same price every month, regardless of what you listen to.
True.
But with AM and FM radio, those guys depend on advertising to survive and pay the electric bill to transmit a signal all over the friggin' place.
Right.
You know, that's an expense. Electricity is expensive when you're trying to send a signal 50, 60 miles in the air.
Yeah, well.
Everyone's competing for your attention, right?
Yeah.
They're serving up ads to be able to pay for the hardware, but you need to be there listening for the ads to really make any sense, for somebody to want to pay to run the ad. So they do giveaways and all these things, but yeah, it's the same thing with music. Your time is limited. People's time is always limited. So for somebody to choose to listen to your song over another, for a radio to pick your song over another, unfortunately, it has to be something that more people want to listen to and engaging.
Technically speaking, you would think that today's goals would be different than from the mastering standpoint, right? Because they're no longer focused on radio. It's streaming. So you would think then they could focus more on natural sound.
Well, I mean, they're trying, I
hyper.
guess, kind of, with like all this spatial audio and stuff. They wanted to be more immersive.
Do these apps still track what song you listen to? They probably do online, but not.
Of course.
They can in a car, but they can't
Depends on
online.
the car.
Yeah.
So they could pay some more popular bands more than others. I don't know how that works. I don't know. You know, in other words, would it matter if, you know, you compress the living shit out of a track so that people would listen to it? I don't know.
To some extent, yeah.
You know, yeah.
I mean,
they still want to be the most popular.
you still want to be the most popular. You don't know what platform it's going to be distributed on, but streaming services, you still want people to listen to your song, of course.
It definitely changed up the mix now that, you know, streaming is probably more mainstream than radio.
Well, yeah, because like Spotify, they have you can look at any artist and they'll tell you how many people listen to that artist every month.
Yeah.
So
right, online they could track that.
It's way more accurate than radio. You don't know who's listening on radio, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I wonder how they do it with radio. It's got to be an estimate.
Yeah, I don't know.
Survey, right?
Yeah, they do that with TV still.
Yeah, right.
Like ask
The
people.
only way to really know, I think, would be to gauge the feedback from your advertisers. Like, hey, is this working for you?
Right.
Or if you still get repeat advertisers, they would know if it's working for them or not.
Yeah.
But I guess, I don't know. I've never got a questionnaire saying, do you listen to FM radio? If you do, what channel do you listen to? I've never asked.
Never had one of those, yeah.
Yeah, so I think they must gauge it by popularity of the advertising space.
But I guess it's a lot easier with streaming than to know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Because you got exact numbers. Right?
But anyway, the way I see it from a human experience standpoint, the only way currently, technologically speaking, to go back in time is music.
Or the James Webb Space Telescope.
Oh, right.
That's true. Yeah.
But that's not you going back in time, right?
Well, depends on who you are, I suppose.
You're watching something that happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
But you're still
watching. But you're not immersed
You're not
that
immersed
a
in
long
it.
time.
Although some of those videos and pictures can be pretty immersive.
Yeah.
Too bad we don't have one on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, that's a topic for a whole different discussion. Maybe we should do a video on that.
The James Webb Space Telescope?
Well, just going back in time with visually.
Oh.
We're talking big time. What is it? Hundreds of millions of years or something?
All of the years.
Billions of years.
Billions of years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's friggin' unbelievable when you think about it. What's more unbelievable is light can travel that far, and we could see it.
Apparently, I guess.
Because you can't do that with any other medium I'm aware of. I don't know if RF would go that far.
Well,
an actual radio signal would die off.
That's the thing. Presumably
weaker.
It does, right? Is there a theoretical limit, and are we anywhere near it? I wouldn't think so.
I don't know. That's crazy.
Because theoretically,
photons travel.
Yeah.
Like if you extrapolate, is there a point at which there's significant attenuation that under no circumstance it would be conceivably possible to extrapolate a signal? Because it could be that if you travel at a high enough rate of speed, you get far enough away, you could capture something that occurred 1 million years ago.
Right.
Like, is that technically possible?
With going faster than light,
I don't know. We need someone from NASA to chime in on this and let us know what the variables are with photon transmission versus any other method of communication.
Just poof out of existence.
Yeah, right. Or just so weak that it can't hear anymore. Because RF certainly, even in space, it has its limitations. You know what it's about? I think the strength of the original source.
Well, but
there's more to it than that.
Though.
There's background noise. And then at what point is the background noise not able to be removed? Because you look at products that are coming out that use advanced DSP to remove ambience in microphones and things like that, like RTX voice or whatever, right? You could have all kinds of stuff running in the background and remove that because it's easy enough for you to say, this is steady state, this is what it sounds like, I'll pull it out. And it looks impressive, but can you take that to an extreme? Can you continue going so that all this noise in the environment, in the universe, that from your measurement apparatus just gets totally wiped out?
See, now if they got to that level, now we're talking immersive.
Right.
Where, you're at the Big Bang, which I guess they're saying didn't happen anymore. But you're there. Like you got front row seats at the Big Bang. Now that would be cool.
But is it possible?
Yeah. Maybe.
Obviously not today.
Right.
But
we know
what about in 100 years, 1,000, a million years?
The question is, did those photons already pass us by? Because you can't see them again.
Well, you got to go. Still go and catch up to them.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe we need to solve the warp drive.
Yeah.
Because then that basically means a warp drive system would be a time machine.
That's right.
Yeah. Just like audio is. Yeah. If you could go faster backwards, catch up to the photons that passed you and then pass them
you
back.
go look at them again.
And then look around.
Well, we already stored these things, but there's a lot of audio we stored.
These are the crazy things we think about sometimes,
Sometimes. We're way off topic.
Yeah, just totally way off topic.
Well, it's the same thing, but different.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Star Trek kind of touches on those things, but,
they
slingshot around a planet and kind of do the same thing.
That's the thing. They don't really talk about time travel just going like warp 9, though, even though it would be. Like they're talking to people on Earth going warp 9.
Well, 10 and up. 10 seems to be the magic number.
Even
then
below,
that's a time machine.
The shit happens after 10.
But even below that, it should be a problem to talk to someone not going that speed.
Oh, yeah.
They got some technology. It's a little box. It shakes.
It's kind of guy on the salt flats with those rocket cars. You reach a speed where you just fall. It falls apart. Right? You crash. You die. Right? There's physical limitations to the human body.
That car that was supposed to go like 1,300 miles an hour SSC or whatever. Wasn't that supposed to run like 10 years ago?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Come on. You need to get that figured out.
1,000 miles an hour?
The wheels usually come off before that happens.
Well, they're like billet aluminum machines.
It's like a whole thing.
Yeah. It's a real issue.
Yeah.
Going that fast. So definitely, this is the goal for everybody. I want everybody who's got anything that plays music to find time, even if it's 10 minutes, where the earth is quiet around you. Everything's quiet as can be, because you want to reduce that background noise we talked about completely, right? It's got to be like midnight or so, probably, right?
Depending on where you are.
Nobody going to bug you. You know that everyone around you is sleeping if you're with anybody, but it's totally quiet. No traffic.
Well, if you're in Times Square, there's no time like that.
Well, you're gonna have to go somewhere in the suburbs, and then listen to music, and then listen like you're there, and then find a song that brings you there, and then you'll know what we're talking about.
Well, and you can leave it in the comments to tell other people what brought you there.
Yeah. You need to let us know, what brought you there.
Yeah, everybody always likes to have a song that they'd never heard that's like, oh, yeah, this brings me back, man.
It's a real experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's stuff like that.
Oh, there's some cool shit out there, times 100, times
Usually
10,000.
it's not popular. That's the interesting thing, right? Stuff like that just usually doesn't end up being a banger, so you don't really hear about it.
Well, or it's too popular and then it's overplayed. Like, could be like Jazz at the Punk.
got
Everybody
those,
knows that. It's you hear it a million times.
Right.
So you got both
There's a
ends
lot of
that.
stuff. It depends what you're into.
Well, that too.
Could be guitar, could be Hendrix. I mean, some of the Jimi Hendrix stuff, I don't think he ever had any stellar recordings, but
I don't know.
Play it back in the right situation, he's playing for you. He's right there. You just got to have the right setup for it. You just got to set it up for that. That's your goal.
Well, and all the tracks, they all vary wildly in what they sound like, so you got to find the right track.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of consistency in that time, but still, it's possible.
It is possible.
Star Spangled Banner being played at Woodstock.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds pretty good, man, even off a DVD.
I have heard him play that at Woodstock.
Yeah. I know. It's good.
No, I actually did, though.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where were you?
At Woodstock.
Yeah.
They play it.
Cool.
Before every concert.
Yeah.
So cool. I have heard Hendrix play at Woodstock.
Yeah. You realize that was before your time.
No, but I literally did.
Oh. But that was like 69.
Yeah, but I was at Woodstock
at
a concert.
Oh.
They built a new place.
A new place?
Yeah,
where they brought Hendrix back?
No, they just played it over the PA.
Oh, wow, shit.
But
close enough.
I did hear that's played.
Was it outdoors?
Well, it's semi-outdoors because it's like a.
You got to be on a farm in the middle of the
It's like an amphitheater. Well, you could see the field where it was. Oh, it's right there.
That's close enough.
But they built a new one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the field's still.
How did
there.
it sound?
Not that good.
Well,
so
that's the problem.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? But it was a valiant attempt on their part.
Yeah, everybody knew
take people back.
Everybody knew what they were doing.
They picked up on it. Yeah.
Right.
It was pretty obvious.
Yeah, you could do it with the right setup. I mean, off topic again. Not to try to. We really need to wrap up this video because it's getting lengthy. But there are people who have systems that date back to the 60s and 50s. Speaker systems, the old stuff, the Altec Lansing stuff, with old receivers. And they were made in that time period to play that music. And rumor has it that if you sit down in a room with one of these guys with their stuff and listen to that music, it sounds pretty freaking good. Pretty freaking good. Because that stuff was mastered on that back in the day. That's what they used.
So you need to buy vintage hardware?
If you want to play vintage gear, sometimes you got to have vintage hardware.
Do you need a vintage guy to set it up for you?
It would be helpful. Yeah.
He knew how they did it back in the day.
He picked the right electronics. But good luck finding this stuff because that stuff's sought after.
Yeah.
It's probably
and it's all
broke.
old too now, so that's the other problem, yeah.
Well, there are guys that rebuild this stuff. They'll recapacitor it for you and bring it up to snuff.
You would need to get vintage capacitors.
Put new gut string on the tuner section so the dial works. You can tune in the AM FM radio. They call it gut string.
Yeah.
It was actually a string that wrapped around a knob that turned the capacitor that varied the receiver's frequency so that you could tune for different stations. Yeah, it was a string. Yeah, about as wide as the piece.
Yes.
A lot of string in that thing. That'd be like 3 feet of string.
Some of them, yeah. Some would be complicated.
Just to move that dial from one end to the other to the receiver. And we better get the hell out of here. Everybody, thumbs us up. We need subscribers because we got to hit 14,000. It's coming up real fast. So hit subscribe right now and we'll be there. Thanks, everyone. Take care.